Hello, folks. This is Holly Pappas, and you found me. This is the course blog we're going to be using for English 101 in the summer of 2017. I wanted to do this video to show you around a little bit and explain what you need to do the first week. I'll be doing this sort of videos fairly frequently during the course. So this is a blog. This is the course blog where your assignments will be posted and information for the course. And you'll be setting up your own blog sometime this week as well, where you'll be posting your work and sharing your work with other people in the class. So let me just show you around real quickly. I'll do another more in detail post about the blog itself, and then go over what the work is for this week. Um, the main part of the blog here will be a series of posts that sort of take the place of lecture notes. Um, the assignments for the weeks will be posted here, as well as some tips and information, sort of on a weekly basis. As the posts are added, they'll be added to the top here. So the most recent stuff is at the top. So right now there's just this one welcome post for the first week. If you're someplace else on the blog and you want to get back to this screen that has the posts, you just click this home button up here. Okay, the other couple parts of the blog, across the top here, there are some drop-down menus. And this is really what I think of as the sort of textbook type material for the course. It stays where I put it, and it's organized sort of by topic. It's a drop-down menu, and some of these, see, you can have several layers of drop-down menus, and you can click in here. It can be a little bit complicated trying to figure out where things are, so I just wanted to assure you that anytime I want you to read any of the information up here, I'll give it as a link down here in the post part of the blog. And I'm using green, bold green, as a indication for what the links are. And you can, of course, see the hand here that indicates it's a link as well. So this will walk us through the different parts of the course. We're going to start with, we'll be talking about the writing process. We'll be talking about the importance of reading. Your first essay is going to be a memoir drawn from your own experience. And then we'll start reading some articles and talking about using text in your writing, doing research and writing arguments. So you can kind of see the overall structure of the course. On the side here, there's some information that again is going to stay put. There's contact information for me. The main essay assignments for the course are listed here. You can click in and read those if you're curious. I may be doing some tweaking before I assign them, but in essence, this is what we'll be doing. And there's some links of resources. I have some links to blogs from previous students from previous semesters that you may want to look at. They may be more relevant once you actually get started working with some of these assignments yourself. And then as you students in this class start setting up your blogs, I'll be adding your names here with links to your blogs. You'll understand how this is going to work a little bit better as we get along, especially if you haven't had much experience with blogs or any experience with blogs. And there's some resources here. This is sort of grammar and style information that you might get from a book in a different kind of course. I have it here. There's so much available online that I don't like to require that students buy books. But if you're a book type person and like things, you know, having things in paper, you might want to pick up, if you don't already have one, a standard English style book. You can find them at the reference section of most good-sized bookstores. Um, if you want any suggestions for some of the more well-known ones or best writer's handbooks, I can give you some. So just send me an email. Okay, so that's the overall look of the blog. Basically, what I'd like you to do this first week is sort of get used to the idea of blogging, get your own blog set up, look around the course blog and get comfortable navigating it. I have some assignments that are going to ask you to post a comment on a blog and also to to do a post on your own blog. Um, some of this is information is up right now. Some of it I'll get. I may add a few short little videos um, early in the week, especially if people email me and are having some problems. Okay, what I wanted to do is walk you through what you're going to be doing this week. As you can see, work for the week here is listed. Normally, I work on a uh, uh, Sunday to Sunday schedule, so normally I'll have your work up by midday, I hope at the latest on Sunday, and then generally speaking, most of the time the work that I assign will be due the following week. Sometimes there may be some deadlines in the middle of the week um, for various reasons, but the general rule is that your work will be due um, the following Sunday at midnight. Um, let's see, something else I was going to say. It'll come to me. Okay, so let me walk you through what I'd like you to do for this week. Um, there is, as I say here, an introduction to the course here. So that is up here, but you can get to it also by clicking on this link. And basically what I do in this introduction is tell you a little bit about the some of the choices I've made with this course and some of my rationale. Um, Something about theme-based courses. I've taught a lot of theme-based courses over the past 10 or 12 years. I like having a sort of content area that people in the class are writing about. We can educate ourselves about a particular content, and give some sort of unity to the course in a way. I think it helps with some students who have problems thinking of ideas to write about. Um, it's a little bit of a trade-off because in some cases, with topics like robots, perhaps, they might not be exactly your cup of tea. So I have a little bit of a explanation here about why I decided on robots as a topic. I'm not a real science fiction-y person, as I say here, but I do like robots as a topic. I've taught it maybe 3 or 4 semesters, something like that. And I've gotten some really great work from students. It's a topic that I think a lot of us don't know a lot about, so there's that curiosity factor that I'm hoping to tap into. For example, did you know that robots are milking cows these days? Um, the Amazon has talked about robots, drones delivering packages. They're used in warfare. They're making cars. They're reading the news in Japan, I believe. They're playing soccer. So robots are all starting to infiltrate all different areas of society. That works well as a topic, I think, for a class like this because while might not be crazy about robots per se, there may be an area like art or sports or science or business or technology where you can look at the sort of the intersection of robots in that particular sphere. I'm not expecting everybody's going to be a robot fan. Another reason I like robots is that it allows us to talk about some big, important ideas having to do with technology, infiltration of technology into culture, as it indicates in the subtitle of the course. It also, gives us, well, uh, uh, gives us some fresh material to write about, I think. The tendency in writing courses sometimes is for people to go back to the same old topics, um, narratives about their grandmother dying, and hopefully you haven't gone through that yourself. But the differences between high school and college, how you change the oil in a car, why we should legalize marijuana, why we should lower the drinking age, all these topics have been done over and over and over again. It's hard to write interestingly about such cliched topics. So I think robots opens up a new world. It also hopefully will help you to see how you can write about things that you might not necessarily be interested in. A lot of the writing that you do in a job setting, for example, might not be the these this information that you're passionate about, but it's still possible to write competently about topics like that. Um, so there are a variety of reasons. You can read my rationale here, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody who wants to uh, more information about why I chose this. But give it a shot. If it's something that you think you're absolutely going to hate, of course you may want to think about changing sections. We are doing a personal bit of writing at the beginning of the course that will give you some opportunity to um, use your creativity really uh, in obvious kind of ways. I'm hoping that you'll learn that you can use your creativity also in the more research based things you'll be writing about. So anyway, so that's the explanation about why robots. As far as blogs, I know some of you may have taken online classes before and used e-learning or Blackboard or Angel or some kind of course management system, and that may be what you've been expecting by signing up for an online class. I've used some of those systems, and as I say here, I find them institutional, impersonal. Um, I've been using blogs for nearly 15 years. Um, to me, it lets students have their own writing space. They're much more personal and individual. Um, it lets us more easily share work. It gives you the feeling of publishing your work to an audience that's larger, perhaps, than just me, certainly, as your instructor. Um, and it's a I think it's a clean, clear, convenient way to post and share information. Um, Usually, I ask students at the end of the semester what they think about blogs, and the responses, of course, they're signing their name to it, so I'm not sure exactly that it's totally reliable information. But generally speaking, students, even if they haven't had experience with blogs, soon come to realize their advantages. And as I point out here, um, since this is an online class, I'm hoping that most of you have a certain level of uh, tech tech not necessarily knowledge, but flexibility and willingness to learn things. Um, the patience to tinker around a little bit. That said, if you have any problems with the tech aspects of the course, please let me know. I'd be glad to meet with people in person, or we can talk over the phone with our screens up, um, or have some sort of way to share information. It's important that you uh, though there may be a little bit of a learning curve into getting comfortable with this technology, you need to sort of start that early on. So if you really run into some brick walls, don't spend a lot of time banging your head against those brick walls, but give me a call or send me an email, and we'll set up a time to talk individually one way or another, either face to face or through technology somehow, or the telephone, whatever. Okay, so that's the introduction. Now I'm going to go back to that list of work for the week. So that's on this home page here. So I click home, and here we've got the work. So after you read the introduction, there is a syllabus. There's a link to it on the e-learning. Many of you may have gotten to this page by going through e-learning. You're not going to need to get into it again. Once you get the links to this page, we'll do all our communication either on the blog or through email. So you don't need to be getting into the e-learning site once you get onto the blog. So read over the syllabus. I'll click here and just point out a couple things. Contact information here that matches the information here. Basic course description. Course outcomes. This is a recent revision of the English department, so we've spent quite a while sort of honing these, so you may want to read over those carefully. I talk about how the online class is going to work. Most of our interactions will be remote in cyberspace on the blog or through email. Assignments, both reading assignments and writing assignments will be posted on the blog weekly, due Sunday at midnight, generally speaking, unless in the rare exception that I indicate otherwise. Um, Online classes do take a lot of time. You're not sitting in class passively listening to me babble on. You're reading and communicating. It's more active in some cases than some face to face courses. I've got some information here about the main work of the course and a grading system. It looks like something disappeared on this. Okay, I had a list of the essays and participation, peer review, short exercises that seems to have disappeared. Oh, here it is. The format changed. I'll get in and fix this, but you can see 3 essays, 15% apiece for a total of 45%. You have an annotated bib and short report. We'll see what that is later, and it's up here on the if you want to look at it. Short essays and reflections at 25% of the course. Punctuality of your work is 10%. That means getting your rough drafts in on time. They don't have to be complete, but you have to get something in by the deadline for the rough draft. I give you 1 point if you get it in on time, 0 if you don't. It is enough of a percentage of the course that it's really it's well worth your while to try as best you can to get something in on time. And peer reviews, when you give reviews of other students' work, is 5%. Most of the work I'll see at least twice. The first time is a rough draft, which you will post on your blog. Final drafts, because I will be commenting on rough drafts on your blog, and other people will be able to see my comments. So I will keep them. Hopefully, the tone will be appropriate for other people to read. So you'll get feedback on the blog. I'm not going to grade, obviously, on the blog because it's a public kind of forum. So grading will happen. You'll submit things to me through email. I'll put comments. I may try some oral recording, some spoken comments, but I'll certainly give written feedback as well. And then I'll email you back the final draft with the grade. Participation policy, the online policy is that you need to actively participate in the course every week. If you drop out of sight for 2 weeks and I don't hear from you, you may be withdrawn from the course. Let me know if something is interfering with you getting your work done. If you're taking a vacation, try to do your work ahead of time. Just let me know what's going on is the main message, I guess. So there's some general information here. I see there are a few formatting issues that I'll correct. There's a tentative schedule here. It is tentative. The blog will be your most up-to-date source for information about assignments and due dates. Okay, so that's the syllabus, and I'm going to go back home here. Okay, sorry if I make you dizzy. There's some more information here about paper versus screen. Most of us are somewhere in the middle. We're not. We're still reading books and using paper to write with, in certain circumstances. But in other cases, we're writing online and reading online. For most of us, it depends on the situation, whether we're more towards paper or towards screen. But I have some thoughts about that, and I'd like you to read them and then add your own comment. So if you click on that green link, you'll get my thoughts, and then to make a comment, you'll click this. You'll just type something in here and post the comment. As I mentioned here, if you're signed into your own blog, It's much easier to do a comment if you're not signed into your blog. There'll be some places here for a name and a email address and a couple other things and a CAPTCHA to do. So it takes a little while. It's much easier if you sign in, and then it knows who you are, and it'll just identify your post by name. So that's just to give you some practice posting and some thinking about this idea of paper and screen. Then I have the next thing here is to go ahead and jump in and set up your own blog. There's a link here to EduBlog's instructions on doing that. We are going to be all using EduBlogs. I would even if you have a blog under another platform, I'd like you to set up an EduBlogs blog, please, because it coordinates with the class blog in a way that other platforms don't. Once you get your blog set up, please send me its URL, which will be this domain.edublogs.org. So email me your URL, tell me your real name, and then the name you'd like me to use when I link to your blog. Usually I just use first names, but if there's a nickname or if you want to disguise yourself in some way, as long as I know who you are, that's fine. So once you get your blog set up, go ahead and send me the email. Don't wait till Sunday to do that. I'd like to get a sense of how many people are getting things going ahead of time, and not having problems. Excuse me. And just as a general guideline, I'd encourage you, even if you're not going to actually do the work first thing as soon as it gets posted Sunday, the day it's assigned, do give a look at what the work for the week is. There may be some things that you can reading or thinking that you may be if you get it put inside your head, your subconscious can do a little work while you're going through your week. There may be some things that you're going to need to, that you're not going to be able to do just in one night, the night before something's due. So see what the work for the week is, and think about your priorities as you think about your the other things you have to do in your life that week. Okay, the next and last bullet point here involves a couple different things. One is to read this essay about writing. It's about 20 pages long, I think, so it will take you a little bit of time. You just click here. It's a PDF that will open, I believe. If you're a paper type person, you can print it out and read it if you want to mark it up. It has some sort of interesting, poetic kind of ways to think about writing and some general advice that I thought might be an interesting place to start. And then once you've read this, I'd like you to, as a first post on your blog, to respond to this essay with something, something about your own sense of rules or metaphors that you've been taught about writing or things that you've discovered. Some of these you may think are valuable. Some of these you might think are rubbish. This is just a chance to share something about how you feel about writing. It's not anything. I'll give you credit for doing it if you do it, and you'll get a 0 if you don't do it. So it's not anything I'm gonna pour over in terms of looking at your, analyzing your grammar or anything. I just want to get a sense of where people are and how you feel about writing, what your experiences have been. So the first part of that post, I'd like you to respond, to leap from here. You may write about some of the things that she mentions and your agreement or disagreement or surprise or disgust or whatever with something that she says, or you may take off and write some of your own ways to think about writing. And then you might want to write a little bit. Let's see where it is. You may also want to tell us something about who you are as a writer or reader. And here I give you a whole list of questions. They're just suggestive questions. I certainly don't intend that you answer all of them or go through them. They're just to give you some ideas you can take this in any direction that you want. So basically, I want a post that says something about your experience and feelings and history as a writer, and that um, connects in some way with this article that I asked you to read. So that's going to be it for the week. Um, if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. I do give a phone number here, but this is my office number, and I may not get the message for a little while, especially if it's a Friday afternoon and I'm not going to be in until Monday or later in the week. So email is usually the best way to get in touch with me. I'm on my email often during the week. Okay, so good luck. Welcome to the class. If you have any problems, please let me know. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you all and starting to get to know you on the screen and maybe in person for some of you. Okay. Um, uh, Again, let me know if you have any problems. Talk to you soon.